Well, hello, welcome to Drawing with Fire. I'm Valarie, your neighborhood pyrography artist, your home of burning and learning, and join with hubby.
Okay.
And today we're doing running water. So we are going to pop up over here. I did a little working out here on the side, which you can't see because I forgot I put the photo up because there's some things we need to discuss. Hey Spence, hey Jenny, hey Carmen. So in doing this water, let's see if I can do this the right way so I can point. So we can see a little bit of waves and they're going down at an angle. But what we also see, and I wish I could have my hand in front of the photo, but I can't.
Jeremy's here.
Hey Jeremy, is that we can see shadow and light coming down from the rocks. The rocks are casting those reflections. So we need to make sure we keep those in mind. Hey Andrea. So we're going to start off with a lighter burn in order to make sure, there we go, in order to make sure we get some of the darks in there, but it's going to look stripy, so just bear with it. It's going to look a little stripy like it does over here, but as we darken things up, it'll start looking like water. So I'm going to move us over here. Now it's easier if you actually turn your board in the direction of the water, and the reason being is you want to make sure that that stroke goes in the same direction, and that's like the biggest thing. And I said we were going to focus in this area. Make sure I have my reference photo. See here, we can see like this light area here and here. That's light casting from the rock. Since it's lighter, it's casting these reflections onto the river. So we want to keep those because it breaks up the water. It makes it look like it's moving, like it's supposed to, because it is. Excuse me. Sorry. So I am on 3 and I have the large spoon shader, and I'm going to pick an area to start in, and I think going off of my landmarks of where things are is going to be right here, and this is a darker area, and I'm going to go back and forth. You can also use the regular spear shaders. I just wanted to test out the spoon shader and see how it did. And there's going to be breaks. So I need to, I'm sorry, I'm looking down at my reference photo because you guys have it, but I don't have a bright enough one. So that's why I am looking down. So here we have some rocks that are kind of in the water. So we're going to go up against the line. And see, my lines are mainly supposed to show me on the pattern where my darks are at. That's in my head how I did it. And also big light spots. Now the river is going down, so we need to make sure it's at an angle. Straight across is going to make it look a little stiff and not quite what we want. So let's find all our darks to put in. We're not going to stress if it's not dark enough, because we can always darken it later. We're just going back and forth. Like I said, this is 3 on basswood for this pen. And the light is always going to, the number is always going to be slightly different. So let's make sure we get that in there. And this graphite, I haven't had an issue taking off. It's just I had to push hard to get it transferred in the first place. Which I don't like doing. Alright, so just back and forth in the direction. Some areas are lighter. And again, don't worry about if some things get too light, because we're going to darken up. It's just going back and forth, and it's going to look stripy until we start blending.
Jeremy's so smudgy peachy.
Still need to talk to him. Does that mean he did his research?
I don't know.
Alright. Now we also have a couple of bubbles off here on the side. You'll see circles. That's where the water kind of bubbled up. So I'm just going to make sure I don't hit those. So just back and forth, taking my time. Any of your shaders will work with this. Just take the time. It'll make things so much easier. So we have a dark line that's underneath here. If you also notice, is blurry. So we don't want the line too, it needs to be dark, but we don't want it too sharp. The blurry lines.
Oh, he did look it up.
Oh, okay. The blurry lines are what give us the feeling that the water is further away. So we need to keep that in mind. I might actually bump up to 3.5 because this is a really dark line. So it's just the ovals will make sure that we're not too stark in our line. We don't want a stark line here. And then as we see it, it goes down. Excuse me. Let's see here. I should have printed out a better photo for me so that I was looking up instead of down. Letting the pen do the work. And so now we're at our stream of water coming down. So we need to make sure we get our lines in there. So that's lighter. So we'll come back. We're just marking in our darks and our midtones. Where it's lighter, we do still need to darken it up, but we don't have to stress about it right now. Don't have to stress about it. Once you get the rhythm down and know how the water is running over, see, things that make the river look different. If there's rocks closer to the surface, it's going to make more rapid type waves. If it's deeper, it's going to be moving more like this, a little smoother. Of course, we get down to the bubbles where the 2 ears came up, but we don't have to worry about that right now. I think we'll look at the bubbles tomorrow. That way we have a base what we're doing for the water. I'm just going to lightly go in here. And then once I have quite a bit of these lines in, I can go back and erase right now. And some of it's going to look dark. Just bear with it.
Bear with it.
Yeah, literally. Bear with it. We need those darks. Darks are so important to this piece. Going back over, trying to darken a little bit just so I have visual. And then even where it's lighter, but I'm going to put my pen down for a sec. I'm going to erase some graphite. I'm still too far away from using denatured alcohol, so.
Beryl is here.
Hey, Beryl. So we're going to wipe away. In fact, I can go a little closer, can't I? Alrighty. Sinuses. Ugh.
Buffering for Beryl.
Um,
Just for her.
Yeah. So because I let my pen sit, it's a little darker, which is totally fine because we need some darks here. I'd say the spoon shader's actually been doing a little bit better job. for what I'm doing water-wise. The Spare did a really good job on the fur. So this is where a light is, but it still has shading to it. So we got to get that in there. But then we darken our outer lines that are breaking up the water. We need to darken this up. And it's a matter of just going back and forth. Let's see here, we got some water that goes around here, so let's get that in there. Just back and forth. It really is as simple as some people claim I make it look. It's just paying attention to the reference, and we're going up and down because that is the stroke. That's the way the water is moving. We're following the water. See, this is a little thicker. I can up my number on the burner or slow down. And then we also, because the water's moving up, we have a thin line of light. And we need that thin line to ensure it looks like water reflecting, or yeah, light reflecting off the water. This is back and forth. In fact, I could have gone a little lighter there in this area here. That's okay. If you want to go back and put in some other rocks, you can. Let's see, okay. Just checking where I'm at on camera. Hair is in my face. So I have a light right here, and then this is a brighter light, and then there's a lower light, and then we've got our line for the wave. So I need to make sure I leave a little gap. And try to soften up these lines so they don't feel so stiff. That's good. So here we actually have water that's come off of a small wave. I know this is not exactly a wave, but I guess that's the easiest way to describe it.
It's a ripple.
Ripple. Alright, so that was a better word. Excuse me, my sinuses are driving me crazy. So we're going to make this stroke a little more down. I'm going to soften it up by moving quicker and kind of blending out. Now this connects to this line. Soften it up. We want it blurry. Once it blurry. And then we got a softer line in here. See, it's just a matter of going back and forth, making sure you try to get the tonal. And then any small waves you can always go back in later. Any small ripples and put them in. Right now we just need to lay out so we have a map to follow. Totally detail it out later as I keep going in the same place. My brain gets stuck. Sorry. Brain stuck. Alright. And so I don't go too far off camera. Oh, yes. I'll keep working my way down this way. In fact, We do need to go up around the streaming of the bear. Alright, we have a long wave right here. I'm going to touch down in the dark. Make sure I'm in the right spot. See, this comes down. Actually, I was in the wrong spot. I touched down in the bear because my tip, as I was trying to figure out where it was, the tip got hotter. So in touching down in the bear fur, I'm able to lighten up the burn. That where I need to go into the raw wood. Anytime you touch down in a burned area, pre-burned area where you've already worked, it'll draw the heat out of the tip for a second so that you can move over to the raw wood without getting all those splotches. Let's see here. I feel like my line is off. Yeah, see, this is a straighter line. So I need to darken up at the top because that is where the wave has the least amount of light hitting it. Ripple. There we go. Remember, in burning lighter, definitely need to make sure and get the graphite off when you erase. Because anything that stays a lighter burn, the graphite will show through. Let's see here. Where we at? We're gonna dark here. And so I'm just making sure that I miss, for now, the streaming water off of the bear nose. I can go back in and get that later. That way I can focus on the light and dark shining through. It's just a matter of going back and forth. Put on your favorite music. Make sure you have the reference photo in front of you and follow your reference photo as much as possible. And just lay the water in. Right now it's going to look odd because it's upside down for the camera. And it's going to look odd because I'm just placing in darks. And leave any gaps for whites. Then you don't have to worry about trying to scratch them out or using a white pencil to put them in, because none of these are bright white except maybe a couple of the bubbles. Most of them are just a lighter burn. Make sure they all connect and go together. I'm going to switch pens and see if I still like the spear shader. I'm waiting for that to heat up. We'll flip it. We're starting to get some water. Right now it's just really blocked in. We will get there. But now we can see where the bank is. We got to keep in mind where the light and the water is coming down. Sorry, guys. And Bear still needs to go darker in a lot of places. I just wanted to get him blocked in. Go. Zoom back in. Now I can get a little closer to some of the darker areas. I'm still on 3.5. I'm just doing oval strokes up and down since I've got my board turned. And just trying to hit the tops of these ripples. That's where our darkest darks are. Cat is quiet.
Spence has only got his bear's eye started so far. And they really are not talking too much.
Mm-hmm. So quiet. I know Beryl is moving along on hers. So I'm just trying to get a little bit more darks at the top. And I'm doing the ovals in order to kind of blend out. Remember, no stark lines here. As lines get closer to the camera down here at the bottom, those will have more detail. Darken. Just going back and forth. I'm trying to stay in this one area so we can see it a little further.
Jenny, about chat being quiet, Jenny says enthralled.
Yeah.
And Spence says we are actually paying attention.
Which implies other times you're not paying attention? I'm
know.
teasing. I'm teasing. Totally teasing. Totally teasing. Now some of the areas, I'm trying to think. Okay, where this rock is, we do have a dark reflection down. So let's try to put some of those in. And that's this rock here. If you need to put in a couple of rocks to know where you're at, go for it. You will know your pattern better than I will, except for Beryl. I know Beryl's pattern. And I'll end up having to use higher heat later. For now, this is good. And right now I'm using like half the tip down in order to go back and forth and get a softer burn in these lighter areas. See, this area goes in a little bit more.
Merle hasn't touched it lately, but we'll be working on it tonight.
Let's see here. Let's make this a little more less uniform because we got water bumping up against the rock. So we do have a little bit going up. Get that in there. I'll go around this part real quick. So we have a light underneath our bubble. We have a dark above our bubble. And we have a reflection. A light reflection. So we are going. You still on camera? Okay. Just making sure. So I get a little more squiggly lines with this pen. But I'm just using the tip. And then I'll go through and soften it. Oops, I went over my light. Check strong. Alright. Need to fix that before I forget about it.
Spence says, Val, I think you're right about us doing our own patterns because I'm learning more by doing it myself.
Yep. Because you know what works for your brain. I tend to do too much detail when I do it for other people. I'm not gonna stress about that. Alright, so we have a darker up here. It comes down at an angle. Gotta pay attention to these angles. Remember shapes. All of this is shapes. Like every bit of this is shapes. In this, we're just seeing longer, more unified lines. So just pay attention to the shapes. Don't think about this as being water, just lines. So that is going to have a bright highlight on it. Let's see here. Let's get this rest of the line in here. And this is to be a lighter line. This breaks up. And then we have another line over here that follows. And some of them are broken lines, so you do kind of need to pay attention to where the broken lines are.
Yeah.
This is what's going to make our water look like it's moving. Now some of these darker lines, I can touch down and drag to make them darker. Kind of angled up, just a tad. I've got to move my body to do this around the camera. This also softens the line. The longer I lift the pen, the longer it has to reheat. We're taking advantage of not letting the pen reheat. That's part of this moving the tip, how quick you're moving the tip. You're controlling how quick the tip reheats.
Carmen, make sure you hit your notification bell if you're not getting notifications of Alice Lives. I can't think of any other reason why you wouldn't be getting them.
YouTube can be fickle.
And So Crazy Lady's here.
Hey, So Crazy Lady.
So excited, finally got you guys live. Haven't missed an episode on the bear, but always late.
Well, thank you for joining us. Considering we're almost done, aren't we? 3 minutes.
Yep.
Look at the timing better. Tomorrow's live is regular time. 11 a.m. Arizona time. 7 p.m. UK. 2 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, I was trying to figure out where I wanted to lay the pen down. So just back and forth. Need some of those streaks. And right now, up close, it does not look like water. Let me pull the camera back. And we're slowly getting some water.
Looks good.
Well, it still needs to be darkened up in areas. Yeah, push this out.
Teresa is here.
Hey, Teresa. We're just finishing up. Such a bummer. Yes, on Facebook in the group, I always pin the lives. I try to pin the lives an hour before the live. It's always at the top. Unless something big happens and I forget. But most of the time, it's always at the top under announcements. Always, always, always. Alrighty. So if you notice, it's coming down at an angle. I do need to blur it out more on both sides because remember, this is the furthest part of the water away from the camera. This is the closest part. And even with that, the water, what we're seeing in these light areas are just the reflections. We don't see reflections over here from these rocks. And so this is smoother. We have some lines, but they're much smoother compared to these reflections. And that's what it is. These lighter areas are reflections. So leave them for now. Leave them for now. They will darken a little bit later. This is just blocking your darks first, and what I'm doing is just trying to get rid of some of the graphite.
Well,
just to clean it up so it looks better. Helps my brain.
So Crazy Lady has the wood prepared. Says she's fairly new to wood burning. Hope that she can do it.
You absolutely can do it. Absolutely
Spence
can do
says
it.
it looks good.
There you go.
Beryl says it's finally warm there, where she's
Finally
at.
cooled off here, thankfully.
Jenny says looking like a sepia photo. Loving it.
That is my goal. We'll see how far. This is just general charcoal white. It's not actually charcoal. It's more chalk. I'm just laying in where the bubble was at. See how it looks. I'm gonna have to blur it out more, I think. Let's see. Am I gonna have time to work on this tonight? I'm going to try. Tomorrow at 11, I think we're gonna work on. Try to work on this area here. And then next week we just got the rocks, and then we're done with the bear lives because it'll be the end of July. And then we start World Pyrography Month. Wow. Ooh, I still gotta make a video for that this week. Got all the words, got my board. Gotta let everybody else have time to get ready, but hopefully I will finish this with everybody else. My pieces, it is a large one. I think this one, what is this one? This one, don't remember off the top of my head, because I got a ruler. Yeah, 13 by 10 and a half. So it's a little larger. Not my largest, but a little larger. Alrighty. Yeah, burn her face. Whose face am I burning?
Oh, no. Teresa was talking about that she's blown up
ouch.
Her sister blew up a pressure cooker.
Ooh.
And Beryl said that she had blown up a pressure cooker, tomatoes everywhere. No longer do them under pressure. So I don't know if that's a story from a while back or if this just happened.
I hope it is.
Teresa, I don't know.
Don't know. Well, I hope everybody's okay.
Yeah. Well, I guess everybody is okay. Her sister's got burns.
Oh, owie.
Beryl says she'll still be in bear mode in August.
Oh, come on. I want as many people to do World Pyrography Month this year. Now, Beryl, you said last year you would do it this year. Got you.
Ouch.
Got you. Alrighty. So we will pick up with the bubbling ripple tomorrow. If we don't have any further questions, there's something you need to say with me, though.
Okay.
Don't forget. You can do this.
Are too tight.
You're awesome.
What?
Why? Because you're a pyro artist. You threw me off.
I'm sorry.
Happy burning. See you in the morning. Long break. Long break. Bye.